अरे सुना क्या? क्या?
अरे सुना नहीं क्या? अरे क्या भाई?
अरे कार्निवल आ रहा है।
कैसा कार्निवल?
कैसा नहीं, पूछो क्या क्या?
बहुत कुछ. Hottest discount on our courses, live learning, job opportunities. A perfect way to live in a pure summertime.
अरे इतना सारा?
जी हाँ, इतना सारा. See you at Geeks in the Carnival.
अरे कहाँ?
Hello everyone. Good evening. How are we all doing on this fine evening? I'm sure all of us are very excited for this session because same here. I am Dhwani from GeeksforGeeks and I will be your host for today's session. I welcome you all to the first session of Geeks Summer Carnival 2022. You often hear buy the dip, invest in XYZ mutual fund, invest in NFTs, and many more investment advices. But what if I tell you that this summer you are about to get a golden opportunity to invest in something that will be your best career investment of this year with 0% risk rate? Geeks for Weeks is back with Summer Carnival 2022, a 7-day long summer carnival fiesta where coders like us can get a 110% return on a growth investment. To mark the beginning of this summer carnival, today we will talk about learning backend Java development. We have a very eminent personality with us who will talk to us about various do's and don'ts during the learning process and guide us through the right roadmap to backend development. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Mr. Saptarishi, who is an SDE2 at Flipkart.
Hey,
Hello,
hi,
Saptarishi.
hi everyone.
We're good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
I would like to take up this opportunity to introduce Saptarshi. He has more than 5 years of experience in designing scalable web applications for various domains like e-commerce, hospitality, healthcare, and aviation. He is also a data scientist and a machine learning enthusiast. So today we will be taking up some questions from the audience and some questions that our team has already prepared. And then we will go about, like some question answers. So at this point, I request Saptarshi, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi, I'm Saptarshi and currently working in Flipkart and working for Flipkart for the last 3 years. And I'm having now more than 6 years of experience in backend development. Yeah, mainly I've worked in the technology I have used mainly Java. And apart from Java, I have used let's say Ruby, Python. Also use MySQL, Elasticsearch, Kafka, Redis, and all the things that you need to. Create a backend service. Go online, go for in production. Yeah, so that's all from my side. Yeah, obviously I also work in data science, blockchain. Yeah, I'm exploring. Yeah.
Right. So Saptarshi, before we start this Q&A, would you like to tell something to our audience, some, like footnote before we start?
Yeah, I think this is a great session by Geeks for Geeks. This webinar is good. So I think there's a lot of learning opportunities. Thanks for inviting me here. All right, let's see. I'm hoping there could be really good questions that I can answer today that can help everyone.
It's a pleasure to have you. So we'll start with the questions that we already have. So the first question is, what is the importance of Java in the tech industry, and why is it one of the most commonly used programming language?
Okay, so now to answer this, it's a good question, and that is not as simple as the question is. Let me take you back to 1995, where this Java was introduced by Sun. They have invented Java, right? So why they have invented at that time this what was very popular at that time is the internet, and they wanted some language where they can build some products which can talk, in, inter, they can talk to each other using this internet, right? So Java is mainly was developed for internet, right? So now we can see all our products are on internet, or we whatever we are building available over internet. That's why people are using. So that's the main reason. One of the thing why Java got popular. Another thing is the adoption, the way developers adopted that, because if developers are not writing the code in that language, the language become obsolete, right? So there are lots of language we have seen in past, right? So one of the reasons is a lots of developers they started working now. All the industries got code written in Java. They have to maintain that they can remove that code, and right, so they have to get lots of codes in Java. Most of the codes are in Java today, and so that's another popularity. Another popularity is Java is having good framework built on top of it, which makes the life of a developer very easy. Let's say Spring is one of the framework. We have Drop User, we have Google Juice, right? Which those frameworks actually make your life very easy while you are coding in Java. Uh, and also, I'll say that Java as a language is having a very rich collection of libraries, right? These are the main reason actually to start with why it's a very popular language. Yeah.
Right. So we have a question from the audience. It's related to data science. So, what is the best platform to learn data science? I mean, you have such experience in it. What kind of platforms do you suggest?
Okay, I just give my learning path. So what I have done, I have done MS from BSP Learning while working in data science. That helped me a lot. It's a 2 years course. It's not a promotion, like it's just I'm saying, and also I have done the courses in Coursera, and I started building my own pet projects and all in data science, and googling and YouTube helped me over there. So yeah, so that's my learning path. uh, I can see lots of good places you can platform are there, like Coursera. I really like Coursera, and other places. I mean, there you can go, and I can see a lots of content in YouTube. That those are very helpful. There is a vlog called Towards Data Science. You can explore that also. Yeah, I think those could be very helpful.
Right. So next, let's move on to the Java part again. So there is this one question, like, what are the advantages of Java that are, like, as compared to the other programming language, as compared to the other OOPS-oriented languages?
Yes. So again, the my answer will be first of all, Java is having if you are saying object-oriented language, so Java is a compiled language. So basically, what you do over here, you compile your code, you create by some what we call the class files, which is having the bytes, right? So which the machine understand those bytes, right, of code. So now, if you have a Java virtual machine set up in any machine, right, you can go and you can just deploy your code over there. So it will run in every machine. That doesn't actually always work for the other programming languages. So this is one of the advantage. Now, let's take an example of Python or Ruby, which are interpreted languages. So what it does whenever it has to run or execute some code, is it has to again compile, and it has to deploy. That's actually could be time and memory consuming. Okay, so they have the other benefits, I'm not doubting that. So here, as being a compiled language, Java is having a plus over there. So yeah, so first of all, I think of compiled language. Second of all, like you have a lots of libraries and frameworks that I already told. Like you have Spring Boot, you have Spring, you have Drop User, so you can quickly create production level application over there. uh, Apart from that, the community, again, you will get if you are having any facing any issue while coding, you can just search in Google and you get some solution from Stack Overflow and something, right? So the community is very strong with Java. So I think these are 3 points. Another thing, there could be few technical things that I want to cover. Just let's say one of the thing is multi-threading. multi-threading is actually taken care in Java in very what do you say, very rigid way. So you can actually they have like threads, interfaces for threads, thread pool and everything, right? Lock. There different variations of locks over there. Like you have semaphore, you have text, you have reentrance lock, right? So lots of locking mechanism are over there already inbuilt. That actually helps when you are designing a complex system like let's say banking system, right? Those things are actually becomes a plus an advantage over the other languages. Yeah.
Right. So I guess that explains a lot. So there is this question like if a person is new to computer science, like if they have not done any programming languages before, do you think Java is somewhere they can start? Like is can Java be a starting point into the like into the line of coding?
Yeah, yeah. Java can definitely be the starting point. I can see in school also they are teaching Java. They're starting with Java. Yeah, Java can be a good starting point. Though I don't believe it there's any starting point of any programming language. Uh, yeah, Java could be one of your option, but you can try out with others also. There's nothing like that. You should try with Java. You should try with C, C++. I don't believe in those things.
Right. So, do you think that the beginner development app, Android development apps, start with Java or do they start with Kotlin? And like which way would you suggest for starting Android development?
First of all, I am not an Android developer. Android developer is actually is part of front end developing.
Yeah.
So I'm a backend developer, but I have done Android development. I can so that is also into 2015 2016 when Android was a buzz at our time. So I have done with Java, but I am really out of touch now how the Android development happens today. So
Okay.
I'll not answer this question. Maybe someone expert in Android development, maybe some session is there in Android development in Geeks. Maybe you should try that.
Right. That sounds about right. So, a very general question a lot of students will ask: how much time should a student devote, like to start with Java to get some, like mastery over it?
Okay, so I'm giving a timeline. So I have started learning Java at 2011, and this is 2020, 2022, and it's like 11 years I am actually working in Java. I'm starting from my colleges and all, so I am still learning. I mean, I don't think I am a master. So I think that there's no limit. You should always explore because Java Spring has become a it's a ocean. Like you can actually explore a little part of it. I mean, you can master in your domain the way you are using some components. You can master. It is very difficult to say someone has mastered the whole Java. So there is always a scope of learning. So, but if I am taking the question as like, okay, how much time I need uh, to start learn this language and start writing production level code. This is the question, I will say I have seen people to take 1 month, people to take 2 to 6 months to they just ramp up in this language, start writing production level.
Right, I understand. I mean, everybody's learning journey is different, everybody's learning speed is different, and the basic grasp of concepts also matters. So, there is this one question like, can you suggest some projects like a person can work on, some basic projects that a person can work on while they're, like doing Java learning?
So what I suggest, I get this question very commonly. So what I suggest people, I will tell like, so there are some application today we see we use or we see people use and they are available, right? So one of the application, let's say a rate limiting service. Okay, so what is a rate limiting service does? Let's say in your backend server, let's say there are in a particular in per second, if there is let's say some client is sending a lots of requests, let's say more than 100 requests, right? So you want to say that you have sent too many requests, you should stop because my server will not able to cope up, right? So this is a very simple service that you can create easily with Java, right? You can create easily with a hash map, a counter. There's other algorithms also to implement it, but I think it's a very simple project you can do over weekends or over a week. You can start with this kind of project. Start with some real-time project, I'll say, which is very easy to implement. All right. So one of these things is like another thing is like URL shortener service. Like let's say there is a big URL and you have to shorten it, and you have to give it to your customer, right? Let's say Amazon wants to do a promotion, and obviously the promotion link from where they are getting the promotion content or everything, like right. So those things will be, the link will be very big because they are bringing is it from, let's say, SV or something, right? But if they mail it with this big link to you, so will that mail look very aesthetic? No. So they, what they do, they will shorten it and they will share it to you, right? So this is URL shortener services are there, like Tinyurl. You can go and see the Carnival. You don't have to create the UI. You can create the backend services. Very simple project that you can try. Yeah.
Right. So I guess that answers a lot of the project related questions, because honestly, I do feel that once you start getting like some grasp of a knowledge, you start working on a real time project. And I mean, this is a very interesting project. I might as well look into it.
Sure.
So there is one question. What other good alternatives are there apart from using Java for backend development? And which one do you prefer and why?
This is another good question and very difficult to answer. So, let's see. Let's say in a similar kind of use case, what are the other technologies or alternative practically I have seen that is being used? Okay. So I have seen same backend service has been written in something called Ruby. Ruby was before Java. It was a very popular language. Okay, so Ruby is one of, but Ruby is becoming very obsolete nowadays. But this is another alternative. The syntax and all could be very difficult to crack rather than Java. So and another thing is like uh, and then the communities could be another issue. So yeah, so apart from all those things, there is no issue in that particular language, and I really like Ruby as a programming language. Or there is no problem. Again, another problem is the interpreter language. Okay, that's also there. Uh, so one of, but still it can work. I've seen Ruby to run in productions in multiple big companies. Okay, so that could be another option. There is another very popular stack. It's a man stack or mean stack, or like where MongoDB, Express.js, and Node.js, React.js has been used, right? So basically, Node.js is one of the one of option do you have, right? So like Facebook, Netflix, PayPal, they have used this stack. That could be another option. Python could be another option. I have seen many backend service runs Python, but depends on the use case. So let's say we want some use cases where banking systems and all, like in the banking system or the e-commerce system, Java is very popular because of, again, this multi-threading and all things comes into the picture, right? So okay, but still I think this kind of thing languages can help over here. But let's say we are using some we are building some platform on where we are doing some natural language processing or something in data science, right? So there you have to use Python. There Java could be an option, but building with Java would be difficult because in Python there is good libraries for data science, right? So depends on the use cases. So I can't directly say I can replace Java with something else, right? So but yeah, obviously depends on your design. You can use other languages or technologies, like another, like I can think of Golang. Golang is also very popular nowadays. A lot of people they are using. Yes. Yes, so these are some alternatives I can see, but based on some specific use cases, there you can get some benefit out of a particular language. Like I told, like for NLP and all, you should use Python because of libraries. Again, for Java, for banking system, people use let's say this Java because of multi-threading and all taken care. But overall, you can pick up any language to start with. But anyway, uh, what happens in an organization, right? So in organization they have a common tech stack, so where they try to follow a particular tech stack, right? So in such scenarios, if you have a common tech stack, or if you have already tech stack present, let's say I have already one stack present over there, so bringing a new tech stack would be bring an additional headache, right? So there you might want to go with one stack, and let's say if you are already having Java as a tech stack, the organization mostly they don't prefer to change that, right? So yeah, so there are lots of things, but I think I have given a lots of examples that could be an alternative of Java.
Right. I mean, it entirely depends upon the use case and the type of technology you're actually familiar with. So there is this question like, have you ever worked with Spring Boot framework, and how was your experience with it?
So again, Spring Boot, yes, I have worked a lot in the last 6 years. I have worked extensively on Spring Boot. Experience is really good because let's say what is a framework. Framework actually provides some a solution out of the box. Let's say one of the solution. Let's say there are multiple design patterns you want to bring in your application. Let's say inversion of control.
Right.
Okay, let's say dependency injection, right? A singleton pattern, all those things. Like let's say you want to bring, because all the production level applications should have those design patterns, right? So Spring as a framework actually provides that out of the box. So it comes with Spring, all those things. You just have to use that. You have to configure that. Now, what is a Spring Boot? Now, Spring brings a lots of facilities. Actually, it helps, provides a lots of things to the developer. For that, to tune or configure Spring, you need to configure a lots of things. Now, again, that could be another learning series, how to configure Spring as a Spring application. Then, what's a Spring Boot? Spring Boot actually do some. It's a bootstrap or on top of Spring. It does some default configuration, and it has some embedded server. You just you start with your simple configuration, like your server code or database configuration, and your application will run, and you can just deploy the application, because it creates Spring Boot always creates a jar file, right? So things are much more easy in Spring Boot. Just a bootstrap on top of Spring, uh, and much more libraries are there. So yeah, so things are much more easier in Spring Boot. Coding perspective, ramp up perspective, also deployment perspective.
Right. So there's this question like, how can a Java developer stand out from any other stack developers?
Again, there's no competition. I mean, we when we say that if developer is standing out, it's not for the knowledge of the technology. I really don't believe in that. I think no tech company like Microsoft, Amazon, Flipkart, Google, they don't care about the language that you are, right? So I really don't think so. This could be a scale to measure a developer, because a software developer, when you will be moving up the ladder, there are lots of things comes into the picture, like maybe 40% to let's say 20% you'll do coding. Rest you will be working in let's say understanding the requirement, do a high level design, do a low level design, again how you have to do collaboration with multiple team, multiple members, right? So those things start coming to picture to become a good developer, right? So I don't think so we can judge some developer by the knowledge of multiple languages. No, so I don't believe in that.
Right. So, okay. What are the top five skills a Java developer must have, like for getting hired to A-list companies?
Okay, so nowadays the product companies we are familiar with, let's say Amazon, Microsoft, Google, let's all the familiar product companies. They really don't check all those things while they are hiring a developer. From my own experience, I'm saying that. But if you are actually going to a company where in the interview process they are asking you question based on Java, so I have given such interviews in past, so I can tell you what are the skills they are actually evaluating you. So they ask questions on the object-oriented principal components, right? They ask questions on the collections in Java. They ask questions in multi-threading. Okay, race condition, deadlocks. Sometimes they ask about synchronization, the locks, like I talked about gradient range lock and all, right? Mutex, semaphore, uh, and some okay, some you can get questions on thread pools, uh, maybe some basic of thread pools, basic of collections, like how a hash map works, how a set works, how thread pool works, like that. The in-depth knowledge on those things, and depends on the rank, right? Also, I have seen questions on Spring Boot, Hibernate. So in those places also there are questions. So basically, they evaluate about some core concept in Java, that those are like collections, multi-threading, and also your knowledge in the framework, right? So these are the things actually they evaluate, because yeah, that this, if you are good in this, then you are fine for the interview.
Right. So, relating to the same question, like you answered it, what was your hiring procedure for Flipkart? Like, how did things go?
Okay, so in the hiring procedure for Flipkart, it starts with your HR will contact, then they will ask for the interview, and the interview start with a machine coding round. So the machine coding round is like they will give you a problem statement, and they will ask you to code it for let's say 1 hour. The problem statement could be like design application like split wise, design an application or not design. It's an implement and demo. Let's say split wise, or could be let's say ride sharing system, right? So you have to implement all those things. You have to demo. They will give you some test cases, right? You have to pass all those test cases, and you have to demo that, yeah, and you have to uh, make the interview understand how you have written the code. They will verify that you have in your code you have actually followed the object oriented principles or not. You have followed abstraction. You have followed, let's say, your how extensively your code is, right? And how functionally correct your code is. Are you actually handling your whatever the exception is coming, right? How are you handling those exceptions? Are you throwing proper exceptions? Those things were actually validated. Now next comes your problem solving round, right? In the problem solving round, you will be asked 2 questions in 1 hour. So mostly there's structure algorithm based questions. So you have to practice from, let's say, Geeks4Geeks, lead code. There are multiple platforms are there, and based on your role, maybe if you are SD2 and above, there will be an system design round. So for SD2, it only a low level design. They might ask you to design a snake and ladder game. Okay, let's say they might ask you to design the entities for book my show, or class diagram for book my show, and they might ask you to write the APIs, right? And what kind of database choice you want to do. But they will not ask for an high level design. But for SD2 and above, there will be another round for high level design. They will evaluate your high level design skill, like They will ask your component diagram and everything. What are the components you are using? Why you are using those? Post that, there will be a hiring manager round where this is a completely behavioral round where hiring manager will ask you about your project, your interest about the company. Like they can ask you some situational questions, like let's say when was the last time you have faced a challenging work and how you handle that. These kind of questions. So this is the overall hiring process.
Right. So I guess that would answer a lot of questions about the hiring part. So this question is, what are the best resources for learning Java and the roadmap a beginner should follow to learn it from scratch?
Okay, so there are multiple books that present in the market. So one of my favorite book to start with is Head First Java. I think many of it's very popular book, Head First Java. Okay, so you can start with that. So there is some blog like Java Revisited, so that's also a very good place to go. And I think there are lots of YouTube series are present, and in Geeks for Geeks also we offer lots of courses on Java. So I believe those courses are very good and helpful. Yeah. So and
Right.
roadmap wise is like you can start with the core Java part, understand the object oriented principles, then start writing some code, simple code, like you can write a code for, let's say, calculator or something, right? Then you can move scale up. You can learn about the Java collections, multi-threading. After multi-threading you can understand, okay, you can learn something like JDBC. With JDBC you can connect to some database like MySQL, Postgres. uh, Post that you can scale up with learning some framework like Spring Boot and Hibernate. This is how you'll go, right? So apart from that, you can then, after learning all those things, you can connect your application to any kind of data store today, like Redis, can be my Mongo and all. So those are actually some advanced things. Okay, I am not saying beginner can do, but yeah, so this could be a roadmap. At a later point of time you can start doing all those things.
Right. So what are the job opportunities for Java backend developers and what is the future of Java backend development?
So I told first, right? So most of the code, I mean, not most of the code. Let's say if I say 10 billion lines of the code today in the world has been written in Java. So one of the thing is like you have to maintain that code, right? The company has to maintain that code. If some new feature is coming, so the feature will be written on that of the code, because I can't write the new feature in Python, right? I have to write in the same code base, right? So there are lots of opportunity in Java. And the future, actually, I can't say about the future of Java. Like again, it depends on the adoption. We can see, you know, when Java was not there, there was this Ruby, C, PHP. Everything was very popular. Now, in 2000 to 2010, Java dominated a lot over there. Now we can see there are other stacks that are coming. Like now, Python is dominating over here. But again, still Java, I can say that in the, if you see the rank, it's still in the top 3 or top 4, right? But I can't. I mean, if the future is predicting the future is very difficult actually. So it depends on how our computer science is going to evolve, right? How, because let's say in 10 years back we might improve in such a way, you might even not don't even have to write code. Something else can taken care of everything, because people I have seen, some of the thoughts are going there, right? So there, I don't know, or Java can stay as a constant language. So future is I can't say, but I think the next 10 years again Java will be still in the top. And one of the reason being it's everywhere. Java is everywhere, so you have to maintain it. You have to build some features on top of it, right? And if now let's say Java is bringing in the newer version, if they bring some new features, let's say for which will help blockchain, which will help data science, AR/VR, then again we don't know. Java can be a dominant language again in the next 10 or 20 years.
Right. So I guess this will be one of our last questions. So, what all difficulties did you face during your learning journey, and how did you overcome them?
Okay. So, difficulties as such, one of the things is while you are actually building an application. So, first of all, uh, when you start, you don't know the syntax. You will go and check in the Google. You will go and check in Stack Overflow, learn from there. So it will be an iterative process for the first 1 and 2 years. So that happened with me also. So the syntax was first of the issue. Second thing is like learning the framework is having that there could be multiple framework like I have worked with like drop wizard, I have worked with spring. So every framework is having their own nuances. Another thing it could be versioning, right? So different version supports different thing, right? So learning the new nuances in the versioning, new nuances framework, I believe this will remain with every coding language and as well as Java also. So those things are there. So there was not any major roadblock because let's say I was part of the organization and there was experts in Java who mentored me and they were there for help. So this is how you learn, right? You go to Google or go to some mentor. This is the I think the best way of learning right today. So yeah, I mean there was no such major roadblock in Java. So minor roadblock like proper syntax, proper design patterns. And another thing you can when you'll be climbing the ladder. So one is like you have to use the proper design patterns, right? So yeah, you have to go back and learn some design patterns. There are good books. I had also the issue. Let's say 3 or 4 years back. So there also I learned design patterns, right? So yes, syntax, design patterns, frameworks. Okay, so wherever some minor roadblock block came, again I have to take a learning curve and again I have to start coding.
Now that you mention it, I actually feel that Geeks for Geeks and Stack Overflow are actually the saviors of computer science students. I mean,
Correct.
what would we do without them? So I guess that's it for the question. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you, Saptarshi, and thank you for an informative session and for answering all the questions. For all of
Thank
those people in the session who are watching us, you can connect with Saptarshi on his LinkedIn. And thank you all so much for joining us today. And if you wish to be a part of other sessions in this series and a part of GSC 2022, then you can check the links in description. So thank you so much, Saptarshi, and thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great day ahead. Take care.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.